Let's see what it sounds like. What's up guys, Matt at Churchfront, and today I've got another fun video for you. I get to install my first Waves LV1 Classic in a church and run it for their service this weekend. I've been working on the LV1 system for quite some time at my own church, but this is going to be the first time I get to work with their new console where it's all included, it's all in one, it's all put together in one piece, and I'm really excited to get to play around with this console. So I thought I'd start off this video by showing you the show file that I just built for them. I put some presets on some channels. I'm trying to get this as far along as I can before I show up to the church. So let's just walk through these channels and the groups that I have set up, show you how I have it routed and how I'm going to manage their audio to make it sound good in their room and online. So starting off here on the left side of the screen, you're going to see I've got a cajon bottom and a cajon top. They want to have drums in the future, but they just don't have drums right now. So we've only got the 2 drum channels for right now. As far as what I did for those drum channels, I really just took the cajon bottom and I rolled off the top end by using a low pass filter, did the exact same thing on the cajon top. I used the Emo D5 for some compression and some gating on those channels, but not a lot because until I hear audio, it's tough to do too much. Moving on to the next channels, the guitars, really all I did with those is I put a basic compressor on those channels, but I also added the Magma tube channel strip, which comes with the LV1 Classic. I want to add just a little bit of warmth to both the acoustic guitars and the electric guitars. At this point, I just loaded some presets so that when I get there, I have a bass line to start from with their sound. Going back to the mixer here, I really didn't do any processing on the keys through tracks channel. I'm going to kind of wait till I get there and see what it sounds like in-house before I do much processing there. And then you'll see these channels in the end of the fader bank here. They're actually red, and you'll notice if I go to the routing, they are not routed anywhere, which makes sense for a click and guide, but you might be asking why I've got a channel named Worship Leader and Vox 1 that aren't routed anywhere. But what we're going to do in this situation, we're going to actually double patch their vocals so that we have some Waves Tune real-time plugin happening on some of their vocals for the in-house mix and online. So these first vocal channels are actually monitoring channels. So I don't want those being sent anywhere. I don't want those being sent to the main left right. I don't want those being sent to any groups. In fact, you'll notice none of my channels are sent to the main left right. They're all being sent to a group. That's how I manage how I'm sending audio to the right places, because I don't want to send anything straight to a left right main. I want to know that it's getting routed along the path that I've designated for it so that I'm not getting anything going straight to a main left right. So those vocal monitor channels continue on in the next fader bank all the way through. We've got an MD talkback and a front of house talkback. We've got a pastor mic and some CG, some computer graphics channels there. And then we've got some room mics. Again, I haven't done much with any of these channels except for some basic compression on a lot of this, just because I don't really want to mess with anything until I have audio coming through the channels. If I continue on to that next fader bank, that's where you'll see those tuned vocal channels that I talked about. And you'll notice that I put the Waves Tune plugin on the 8th slot on the rack for those channels. The reason I do that is if I ever want to get them into tuning specifically to a key, we would use scenes on the LV1 Classic to recall the different keys that they would use on a Sunday morning. So what I don't want is any other plugins that are being used. I don't want those parameters changed in those scenes. So if I were going to set up scene recalls and recall a scene for a specific key, I would only make sure that plugin 8 was selected on the scene recall so that I'm not recalling any other changes in plugins that I might have accidentally made or saved. Moving on to the routing, you'll notice that those channels are routed again to a group. So let's move down to those groups. You'll see that I've got a drums group, a band group, a mic'd instruments group, a track group, vocal group, talk group, and computer graphics group. What I like to do with groups is I like to put like things together so that I can do some group processing on instruments that should blend well and glue well together. So drums, most of the band. The mic'd instruments, the reason that I do a separate group for that is because those are instruments that are probably going to be pretty loud on stage. In this instance, they're going to use that mic'd instrument channel that they have for like a brass player. So that's a very loud instrument. It's probably not going to be turned up very loud in the house. So we need to be able to compensate for that in the online mix. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that in a second. One big groups processing thing that I did here that I wanted to show you is I took all of these band instruments and tracks groups and I actually applied a side chain on an F6. So I side chained to the vocal group, and as the vocals get loud, as the singers sing, it's actually going to turn down some of those frequencies that tend to get in the way of our singers. So I actually used the preset on the F6 that's literally called Carve Out Space for Vocals, and I just set that side chain up to the vocals group. You'll notice that all of the groups are being sent both to the left, right, and they're all being sent to Matrix 1. Matrix 1 is actually my broadcast mix. So if I open up Matrix 1 and I show you the channel strip there, we're going to see all of those groups being sent there along with a broadcast extra channel. For that broadcast extra mix, I'm actually using the very last monitor mix on the LV1 Classic, which is I've actually made a stereo mix. And then what I'm sending to that stereo mix is one, the front of house mics and the stage room mics. And then I'm also sending the effects that I'm going to have going on in the board directly to that broadcast mix through that monitor mix as well. So the way that is I've got room mics and I've got effects. Those are all being routed to monitor 16, which I've named broadcast extra. And that's being routed to the online mix along with all of those groups. For the effects, what I'm setting up for them is a short vocal reverb, a long vocal reverb, a vocal delay, a band reverb, and a drum reverb. And all I'm using for most of those is either H delay or true verb. So then I set up some DCAs for them so that they can mix one fader, makes changes to a bunch of channels. Most of you know what DCAs are, but I've got a drum, band, tracks, vocals, talk, computer graphics, and an effects DCA. And then last but not least, I actually created a custom fader layer. In the LV1 Classic, you can actually make up to 8 custom fader layers. And for them, I just put some of those DCAs on this custom fader layer. I put their 2 computer graphics channels so that they can turn those on and off independently. And then of course, all of their vocals are going straight to that surface so that we can mix those live while they're singing, and then their pastor channel. Again, I'm sure I'm going to change a lot of this once I get in the room, but I wanted to get set up as far ahead of time so that I had something really good ready for them so that when I show up, we're ready to plug in some instruments. All right, so now let's head over to their church. Let's set this LV1 Classic up in their space, and let's get ready to mix some worship music. So I think we'll start with Cajon. Give me the loudest thing you're going to play all day for me, okay? Track should be good, so let's move on to Wes, your vocal.
Mountains are still being moved, strongholds are still being loosed. Jesus, for my family, I speak the holy name. We are here for you, come and do what you do. We are here for
maybe she thought the tables would turn. Maybe when the sun peeked through the flaps of the tent, maybe she thought to himself, maybe he will love me. Maybe he will care about me. Oh, but she found out very quickly he didn't love her. He wanted Rachel, and he made such a gigantic big deal out of it.
All right, so one thing that we did change from when I was kind of setting this show file up in the studio is that Wes actually opted to go with the Waves Essential program, which is $150 a year, instead of the Waves Ultimate, which is $250 a year. You still get a lot of great plugins with it. There's only a handful of plugins that you don't get that I might consider kind of important, but we, I think, got a really good mix with what we have here. I'm going to show you some of the things that we added. For instance, it comes with the one knob filters, and they've got a Cajon in place here, so I'm actually using the one knob fader plugin for the Cajon. It just adds some thump to the Cajon. It comes with the CLA 76 compressor, which I love. I tend to like to stack that one with the CLA 2A compressor. The Waves Essential plan does not come with the CLA 2A, but this R compressor can be set to a warm opto. And you can kind of set the setting so it's kind of like a CLA 2A. It's not perfect, but it works really well. And then obviously we do have Waves Tune on their vocal channels here. The other thing that that changed since we set this up in the studio is with that Waves Essential plane, it does come with this plugin. If you have never used this plugin on a broadcast mix, if you are a church that wants to set up your mix and not worry about it very often, this is the plugin for you. This playlist writer will get your stuff level and keep it at a good level to send to YouTube or Spotify pretty consistently. Is it perfect? No, it does have a little bit of up and down with it, because basically what it's doing is it's taking your overall volume and it's just slowly turning that up or down to make it the right level for a YouTube platform or a Spotify platform. Also, for the custom layers that I set up for them, we changed those around a little bit to show you kind of what I did. I do have a drum, band, tracks, effects, and vocal DCA set up on their first custom layer with their computer graphics channels. You got those already coming in with some audio there. And then we actually have the 5 vocals that they used this weekend. So I mixed with that this weekend, and then the pastor microphone. And then what I did on layer 2 is I basically just took out the one channel that they had that didn't have any volume on it this weekend, and I put their 5 vocals that they sang. So this is basically everything they had for music on 16 faders, which is really nice to have. If they had a full drum set, I'd have to kind of come to a concession on what I wanted on this fader layer if I had to move some other stuff to another fader layer, but it was nice to be able to fit pretty much everything musically onto one fader layer, including the tracks. And then finally on the third custom layer, I just loaded the effects channels that we're using. We're using, like I said in the studio, the short verb, the long verb, the delay, the band verb, and the drum verb. All right, so there it was. We mixed 4 of their services this morning. I hope you liked listening to it. I certainly liked mixing this group. They have a fantastic band, some great vocalists. In the future, they do want to put some drums on the stage. They're probably, because of this room, how small it is, how reverberous this room is, they probably are going to do an electric kit. But for now, they really love the cajon and they're doing a great job. In fact, the guy that played cajon has only been playing for a few years and he's doing a great job. And the vocalists here, Wes and Emma, all of the vocalists were just fantastic to listen to, fantastic to mix. It just makes mixing such an easy thing to do if you have great musicians to start with. All right, so that concludes this video of installing an LV1 Classic here at River City Baptist in Jacksonville, Florida. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to our channel for more content like this. If your church is looking into an upgrade like your soundboard or your speakers or anything like that, make sure to go over to churchfront.com/premium, sign up for our premium membership today so that you can jump on a phone call with one of our coaches, one of our AVL guys, so that they can get you the right equipment. So often we see churches that buy the wrong equipment and end up having to buy equipment twice. So make sure to connect with us first before you go out and spend a bunch of money. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video and we will see you in the next one.